Welcome to Yeukai Business Show, UK's premier business show where we feature business thought leaders, high achievers, and industry experts. Today's episode is brought to you by World Outsourcing Solutions Limited, a company that specializes in helping executive business owners with virtual assistant services and business growth systems. Here's your host, Yeukai Ketchadori.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this very special episode. With me is Philipp Wolf, joining us for the first time on the show. And I'm excited about today because, as you know, we are constantly looking for ways to streamline your business, to help you move your business from where it is to where you want it to be. And one of those areas which we get so many questions as to how do you go about doing it, what can you do, is about your customer success journey. What do you need to put in place to ensure that you keep getting clients, and once you get those clients, they stay with you for a long time? And good for you, we have Philipp Wolf, who has been helping other business owners not only in Budapest, where he's based, but across Europe and, of course, right here in the United Kingdom. So we want you to take your pens out if you are somewhere sitting, or if you can, wherever you are, find a way of taking down notes so that you can dignify your discoveries, because today you're going to discover something that could turn your business forward. Philipp, thank you so much for joining us here on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited that you joined us and you're giving us this time to share with us your knowledge, what you've discovered. Now, I know a lot of people are yet to discover more about you. Would you give us a snapshot of who you are, what you've done, and what you are doing right now?
Sure. So I'm Philipp. I'm the founder of Custify, and Custify is a customer success platform that our customers typically use to monitor their customers. More about that later. Originally, I'm from Germany, and right now I'm in Bucharest, not Budapest actually. So I'm in Bucharest, which is in Romania. It's the capital of Romania. That's where Custify has the headquarters. A little bit about myself. My background is products and IT software in general. I was working in IT security actually for quite a while. Many years of my life I spent in IT security, protecting other people from getting infected with malware, which is probably also an interesting topic, maybe for another podcast. But that is what I did, let's say, after my university time. A quite technical job to begin with. Later, I moved a bit more to management, and that's where I also got a bit more in touch with business ideas or business in general. Like, what does it mean to grow a business? What does it mean to sustain customers? In the end, this is the core idea of any business. Either you want to keep the customers or you want to keep them coming back. Depends a little bit on your business model, but typically you don't want the customer just to come once, but you want to come them back. And that experience that I had there kind of exposed me to this customer success topic. I didn't even know back then that this was called customer success. Also, the term itself wasn't that established. Was a while back. So right now, this is a pretty established term. Everybody thinks about it. Everybody who has a business thinks on customer success. How can I retain my customers? What's my life cycle? What's my touch points with my customers? So I did a bit of research back then on the topic, and I found this to be a super exciting market to be in, because many of the existing legacy products or companies that provide the products, they were in a shift towards a more subscription-based business. So I mean, these days you can even subscribe to a car company, and this was kind of a new move, and you couldn't even imagine that 10 years ago, that you can subscribe to a car and you get a car, and when you don't need it anymore, you give it back, and there's no hidden costs, nothing. Of course, there was always leasing, but this is kind of how extreme it got. Other companies like Adobe, for example, they provided typically this, let's call the legacy products, Photoshop, for example, where you bought a license, you bought it once, and then you typically had it for 3, 4, 5 years. And they also moved into the subscription business. So you subscribed to their services. Office 365 is another example where instead of buying a CD and installing Office and remaining with this on your machine, you just subscribe to the service and you stay subscribed until you don't need it anymore, and you pay a small monthly fee. Now, anyone who is kind of trending in towards that business model of reoccurring revenue, of subscribers, of people that should come back to your product and services, they are naturally interested in customer success. So they're naturally interested in what can I potentially do to keep these customers. And yeah, that's what got me so excited about this topic, and that's why we started the company about 5 years ago.
I love that. One of the reasons this topic is so important for business owners is you and I, if you've been in business for some time, you know that the most difficult part in getting customers is the initial part of getting customers. If you can streamline that part, the maintaining part is fairly easier than acquiring customers. That's why you need to know both how to go after new customers in your organization and be able to keep them in your organization, because once they buy from you, they're likely to buy again from you because the people they do business with, people they know, like, and trust, provided, of course, that you keep delivering on your promises and you over deliver on your promises, because gone are the days when you just have to do the minimum. You have to go over and above so that you keep people there. One of the things I like about you, Philip, is that you've been in the game, for instance, for a while, and you've helped so many people. Would you share some of the examples of people that you've helped over the years?
Sure. So there's almost endless examples, I guess, that I can mention here, but the primary idea that how we help businesses is really retaining their customers and making sure that they come back. For example, we worked with a customer and they had, this in software terms is called churn, but you can simply explain it. And there is someone that is using your product and services, and then he's not coming back, right? So he's gone, he leaves you. We help them to retain a lot of those customers. That means instead of canceling, they had other options. They had options to stay on for free for a month. They had options to reduce the price for a bit. This became, of course, very relevant, specifically when we think about the COVID crisis, where some businesses were really hit hard. And of course, they had to try to minimize the costs. However, these businesses are back in the meantime. So we helped these customers to retain them, to keep them. There's like 100% increase in retention. So you can imagine how big that business impact is if you can just keep half of those customers that actually would go away. You can keep half of them, and they don't go away, and they keep paying for your service, or they come back. And that's kind of the numbers that when you implement customer success, that what you can expect when you do it right.
You're right. I certainly believe in keeping your customer, because it's far more expensive to go getting a new customer than to just keeping the one that you already have. And today we want to be talking about those building blocks. What does it take to create a culture of keeping those customers once you get them? And Philip has been helping so many people, and today we want to do that. Again, we want to thank you for being here with us if you're joining us for the first time. Philip, if you were to advise somebody who is getting started with this whole intent of creating a successful customer journey, where would you have them start?
Yeah, that's a great question. And of course, this depends a lot on your business model. Like, do you have a service that people subscribe to, like a gym, for example, or do you have a software that people subscribe to? Or are you more of a transactional based business where people come, they pay, and they go, but you want them still to come back? In either case, I think the first step is to kind of think about the customer journey for your specific case. So how do people actually discover you, or when they come the first time to you, how did they discover you, and what is their expectations of the service or the product? So what pain did they actually have, and why did they come to you? There's always a reason why people want to do business with you, and typically it's a pain that they have, and you can solve this pain. Now, that's the first step, to understand how fast, or what's the steps needed in order for someone, or for your customer, to get to this, let's call it aha moment, or to the moment where they actually get value from your product or service. Because when they get the value, they understand why they actually paid you money in the first place. And the longer that the time to value, how we call that, takes, the more problematic that is, and the more guidance these customers typically need. So mapping out this customer journey from like how did they find you, and what are their expectations when they get in touch with you the first time, and what are the steps they need to take, or you need to help them to take, in order to get the first value from your product. That's kind of the first thing in the customer journey typically. So in software terms, this is typically called an onboarding, and I guess all of the listeners have gone through some kind of an onboarding in their life. Whenever they install the software, whenever they use the service the first time, this is typically called the onboarding. So this experience is very, very important, because this is the first touch point your customer has with you. And it's very important that this first touch points, or the first moments with you are positive, and the customer goes with the feeling that he actually paid for a service that really makes sense and solves their pains, solves their problem that they initially had when they were discovering you.
Like that.
So onboarding in general is, let's say, the first steps. That's the first thing. And then mapping out all the other touch points down the road with your customer. That's called the customer life cycle.
Yeah. So before we jump onto that, I want to make a mention of the fact that you need, as a business owner, you need to sit down, actually do this with your team, so that everybody is on the same page. It's one thing to have it in your mind that this is what happens, and it's something else when you sit down, write out what are the pain points that your customers have, the people that you're serving, what are their expectations. Figure out, if I was to do it all over again, I will send out a survey to my existing customer and ask them, when you came on board with us, what was your expectation? Let them define to you. When you do that, you will be amazed that their expectation could be totally different from what you're trying to portray, and then begin to give it back to them. So here's what I would do. If I was you, I was in your shoes, Bill, right now at this point, is set it time when you're going to have this exercise with your team, maybe on a Monday morning during that time where you have got a staff meeting, and say, hey guys, let's look at our the onboarding process. What is their pain points? What are their expectations? What are the necessary step by step? What do they need to do? And really put it on a nice big board so that everybody will see. You will be amazed at what you will discover, that you may have some bottleneck already in your process that you can streamline. This is exactly what I would do if I was in your shoe. I hope you're taking notes, because this is crucial. Again, when I talk to business owners and ask, have you done this? They'll say, oh, no, my team does it for me. No, you need to take some time as a business owner, as the owner of the business, know exactly what is going on, so that when things are not so working so well, you can address them. Philip, let's go on to that cycle that we were talking about.
Yes. So, so typically, this is the first impression, right? So the customer, you help the customer gets the first experience, it gets the first value from your product, and understands, this is how this works, this is why I paid the money, I like it, I want to come back, I want more of this stuff.
Right.
Now, the question is, the next question is, okay, what is my customer life cycle looking like? So what comes afterwards? So do I have, for example, additional products or services that I can offer to this customer? And we call this typically customer segmentation that you need to do. That means not all the customers are typically the same, right? So you have different needs, you have different customer sizes, like different budgets in your customers. So not all of them qualify for that, but that's why it's important to cluster, to segment your customers into certain, it's not typically just the industry they are from or the revenue that they generate with you, but also the potential that they have. And that determines typically different routes in that life cycle. Because if you have a customer that has a high potential to buy other services from you, to buy more services from you, then you can talk to your marketing team, or you can basically reach out to this customer proactively and come along with a message like, hey, you are using this product or this service. I have another service that actually is complementary. And based on your current, I'm looking at your account right now, and based on that, I would really think that this other service could also be interested in for you. Can I explain it to you what it does, for example, right? So segmenting your customer base, figuring out which one of those could be potential candidates for other services or higher paid services, premium services that you might have.
You know what? I'll just point out something on here as you take a little bit of breath there. Philip, this is where you make a lot of money because you know what the customer needs before they even know themselves.
Exactly.
When you say, for example, someone comes into my organization, I already have mapped out the thing that they need. I know them so well that when I present a product, it is a no-brainer. It's like, oh yes, that's the next thing I want, and it's easy for them to say, okay, yeah, I'll go with you because you seem to already understand what we want to do. So again, when you do the exercise, the very first part we were talking about earlier on, you map it out. You can also do the next stage of looking at what other services that you can put on there on their journey and begin to build it in such a way that it becomes a no-brainer for them, and look at best ways of presenting that product to them. You will be amazed because you make more money during this second segment more than the very first part because you can price even higher and accordingly. Do carry on, Philip.
You had one very important thing that you mentioned is this proactiveness. This is what customer success is all about. So you are not waiting for the customer to reach out to you, but you are proactively approaching your customers. That is kind of a very important part here, and this is really key. Now, every business, of course, is different. We talked about it. However, a certain underlying data hygiene is key. So knowing your customers and having data that you can judge on is really important. That's what we teach our customers all the time. It's really important that you start, if you don't already do it, start collecting data. Every business can collect data in other ways, but having the data and being able to judge based on data is going to make a big difference when you grow your business. So being able to say, this customer, I can look at the data and they are using our product to the full extent. They are ready for an upsell or cross-sell. And then this proactiveness that you mentioned, that is key. So that is key for these upsells and cross-sells, but it's also key when it comes to avoiding customers leaving you, like this churn that we talked about. This is equally important. So if you see someone not using the platform or not using your service anymore, they have used it a year. All of a sudden they don't come back. They show no reaction whatsoever. Something is wrong there. Maybe the business sponsor that was actually your primary contact in this relationship is gone, and maybe someone else took over and they don't even know that you exist. These could all be reasons or potential reasons for the customer leaving you, and you can figure that out ahead if you have this data and you can be proactive about it. That's kind of the key thing about this customer success mindset, to be proactive with the customers.
Indeed, absolutely. You see, Bill, having data, data don't lie. When you can follow what your data is saying, again, if you don't have somebody to look at that, you may want to set aside a time in your diary as a business owner and look at exactly what is going on. And thank God that nowadays with the software and the technology, for example, the Custify, one of the software Philip has, will probably give you the data that you need so that when you are making a decision, it's well informed. Take time to look at the data. Where are the trends? Where is it going? And look, if you can, look at what is happening across the board in the industry. What are the new products that people are bringing up? How are they doing it? And figure out a way of incorporating it in your strategies. Again, I highly recommend doing the exercise we're talking about literally once every month. It may seem monotonous to the rest of the team, but when you do that, they will become aware of what is going on. And as you continue to talk about the data, you keep your guys or your team to be able to do the right thing that will ensure your company continues to grow. Over to you, Philip.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Maybe another thing to consider are touch points. So when we talk about life cycles, so what are your and you said like, yeah, sit together with the team and map it out. This is also really important to map that out, to be clear about the touch points with your client.
That's
Now,
right.
touch points can be a phone call. Touch points so you call the customer. Touch points can be emails that you send to it, can be even emails that maybe your marketing team is sending to this customer is still a touch point. So when do those touch points happen? What is the content of those touch points? Like, what do you want to transmit there? What does make sense? For example, a customer that is with you since like yesterday probably has very different needs in regards of education, in regards of content that you can provide them, versus someone who is already with you for a year. And mapping that out and understanding what does the customer actually need, or how can I help the customer with these touch points the best possible. That's also really, really important when it comes to this customer lifecycle and this these touch points that you have with your customer. And yes, back to this proactive thing. Ideally, they are most of them are proactive. So if this and this happens, I want to send the customer that kind of message. If this and this happens, we're gonna call the customer. For example, if you have a subscription and there's like, for example, a gym, right? So I'm not sure if you are subscribed to a gym, but let's assume the situation where you sign a 1-year contract and this gym proactively gets in touch with you 3 months before the renewal. It's like, hey, we have this other courses, or hey, we have this other things. This is free for now, because of course, like the risk of this customer not renewing the gym contract is kind of high. So what can you do? How can you get in touch with them? In what moments do you get in touch with them, and what channels do you use to get in touch with them? That's of course very specific to your business, but map this out on a huge paper, on a huge board. Map it out. Understand what does your customer actually need. Put yourself in your customer's shoes and imagine you are new with this product. What would help me most in this moment, and how can you actually help your customers? Because if you are considering your customers more of partners and more of people that you really want to help, you want to educate them, the more you do that, and the more you do that proactively, the better the relationship will be, and the more they will buy from you, and the less likely they will actually churn and go away.
Philip, you have nailed it. I'll give you an example. One of my clients have what we call the welfare calls. Is just one of the touch points. So you mentioned about a phone call or emails or an in-person touch point. So we had one of my clients. We said it's fairly small business, but turning over a great sum of money. And I said, have you ever called your customers in person? You as the business owner, not your team making the initial phone call. You've got a list of data. You can just call them and say, hey, this is Bill. I'm the founder of this company. I just thought I would say hi and find out how you're doing, and how else we can support you as the business owner. The result that the business owner I was working with got as a result of that, far outweighs the spending of the time, because you always look at the opportunity cost, how much is going to come back from that activity. He said, that was one of the most profitable activity he had done in 5 years. So I want to encourage you, when you're looking at your touch point, consider you as the business owner. Don't leave it, to everybody. If take as initiative, have a welfare call with perhaps your customers. Pick 10 customers, random customers or clients. Speak to them, find out how they're doing, how are they coping with their environment, with the whatever is going on right now, and then you go on to next. If you do 10 clients per month, you will find that by the end of the year you would have covered most of your clients, and the ripple effect of that, in fact, even if you don't speak to that client another year, they will still hold you with high regards. And even if somebody comes in with a new product, want to take them, they are going to feel like they are loyal to you. They don't want to just go. So do everything you can to build on those touch points and build on the content. When you speak with people, that will set you apart from the rest, especially in our line of business as business coaches. And we've got our services that we provide. That will go a long way. So I love that that you're sharing. We're coming toward the end of our time here, Philip, and I know for a fact that a lot of people have tried to build a successful customer journey but have failed, and you deal with them all the time. What are some of the common mistakes that you have observed people make? Oftentimes, they don't know they're making them, yet it's costing them money.
Right. So I think the one of the major mistakes there, or things that can go wrong, is you don't really understand your customers. So
Yeah.
you don't really understand the pain they have and why initially they actually came to you, like their expectations. You don't understand the needs they have throughout the life cycle with you, and what can help to overcome this, which is key to know, because otherwise you cannot build really your customer journey. You cannot map them out. You cannot build the segments, all the things we talked about. What can help you here is customer interviews. So you said call this business. I agree. However, I would add something. It's not just like, hello, I'm Bill, nice to meet you. It's really like, hello, I'm Bill. Can I talk to you a little bit more about our product and services? Why initially did you come? Can you help me a little bit more on that? Then, what was your experience so far? So really trying to understand your customers by talking to them. And there's no business where you cannot talk. There's no excuse why you can't talk to your customers in any business. It's always possible. If you have thousands of customers, you don't have to talk to all the thousands of customers, but you can talk to a subset of them, ideally from various segments, and you will get the picture, you will get the patterns, you will understand very quickly what's going on in their mindset. And that's key for you that's the foundation that you need. If you don't have it, that's the foundation that you need for all the other steps. So if that is my only recommendation, let's say that I can leave here, is like, talk to your customers, talk also to the customers that are leaving you.
That's right.
Why do they leave you? We call this exit interviews. So why do they leave you? What happened? Can you find out patterns? Can you find out, maybe you find out, well, there's something you can do about it because they have an unsatisfying experience with your services team or with your support team, or they have they went out of business. There's not much you can do about that, so you don't need to worry about it so much. But talk to your customers, talk to them when they become your customers. Why did they become your customers? And if they leave you, do these exit interviews, these exit calls. Not just send them some kind of an email and here, please check one check mark why you left us, or these kind of things. No, talk to them. The personal conversation is adding so much more value to it. Take the time and invest in it. That's just like, if this is the only recommendation I leave here, then talk to your customers in all the stages to understand it, because that will be required to build out your proper customer journey.
It does, absolutely. I'm a great believer in connecting with people. Really, even just if you prefer in person or being on the phone, because you will be surprised that some people will turn up and say, "Oh, you know what? I was going to go to this place. I'm no longer going because you care so much." We live in a world where everything has become so digital, so email, that if you differentiate yourself just a little, talk to your people, talk to the people that are giving you freedom, because clients equals freedom in my books. Find out exactly what is going on, how they can do that, and understand your customers. Somebody would say, I don't have time. I'm busy. I need to do that. Well, you need to find a way to slow down and create the time to work on your business. This is what we call working on your business, not in your business, or responding to emails and responding to everything and doing all these meetings. Those are good. There's a place for them, but you always want to create some time where you step aside and really look at what is actually going on here. What can we do to improve what we are already doing? And believe me, if you're intentional about it and you take steps towards it, your team will notice that this is an important part of the business, because what you cannot measure, what you cannot see properly, and what you cannot address, it will not be addressed. It will not change. If you can see it clearly, you will be able to change it effectively. So I want to encourage you, understand your customer, take your time to go over this over and over, put that in your culture. Now, final words from you, my friend, to a fellow business owner who's perhaps going through a turbulent, given what is going on in the world right now. What's keeping you going?
Us as a company and me as a founder, what keeps me going is that the feedback from our clients, of course, that we can help them. Like this is really just great to be able to. And I wouldn't know that if I wouldn't talk to the customers, right? So it goes back to that. So yeah. That keeps us going every day. That keeps us improving every day, and our customers in the end make our product better. So with the feedback, like almost all parts of the product are built by our customers.
That's right.
The ideas come from our customers. We are not sitting in some kind of a tower and think of, let's do this and that feature. No, they come from our customers with the feedback that we get from them, and we build it for them, and we help them, and that keeps us going.
Incredible. For those who want to learn more and maybe use some of your services, where can they find you, Philipp?
Yeah, look me up on LinkedIn, Philipp Wolf from Custify. That should be pretty easy to find, and happy to have a chat.
Yes, and we will also put in this below this link, this video or an audio, a link where you can go straight to Philipp's website to find out more. Thank you, Philipp, for that and being generous today with your time and your knowledge.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
That's awesome. Listen, I want to finish off with this. I live by a principle that I call 5-5-5, which is spend 5 hours of each week on yourself. Do something for yourself as a business owner. This is what's keeping me going. I've done this. Even my team now do this all the time. It may be 1 hour a day. It may be all 3 hours or 5 hours all in one. Just give to yourself, and then give another 5 hours to learning something new or relearning something you already know, so that you can perfect it. You can do that using a podcast, or you can subscribe to audio programs. Do something that is going to develop your skills in the world of business, in the world where you are. Learn something in the industry. 5 hours a week. It's not too much, ladies and gentlemen. It's not too much. 5 hours a week to be educating yourself in what you want to do or in your industry. And the last 5 hours is focus on contributing into something bigger than yourself, into a charity, into making someone's life better, or into contributing into your clients. You may have clients that need certain needs. Do something about that. So I want to encourage you to adopt the 5-5-5 principle if you can. You will be surprised at what you could learn from that. Again, it was only 15 hours out of your crazy busy week that you can do these things, and you end up family time and all those things, spending time with your customers, your clients, and working on your business. But only 15 hours out of 7 days that you can do this in 5-5-5 principle. Just put that in your diary and let everybody know. If you want to do that, you will set yourself up to succeed. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go make it happen. Create an amazing success journey for your customers and keep them. Let's keep them because they equal freedom for all of us. I want to say thank you to Philipp once again for being here today on the show, helping us to develop as business owners. Thank you, Philipp.
Thank you for having me.
That's awesome. And also, thank you for joining us here. Until next time, I want to encourage you to live well, live with passion, know that the best is truly yet to come. And for those who are still looking to register to participate in our program, How to Start, Scale, and Monetize Your Podcast, reach out to my team. We'll be able to put you through that program so you too can start your own podcast and begin to help others, or amplify your voice, or amplify the voice of others, so that together we can make the world a better place. Thanks again, and to talk to you very soon. Goodbye for now.
Thank you for listening to Yeukai Business Show. We will be back to bring you more episodes with success stories and advice straight from the experts. Want more? Check out www.yukaibusinessshow.com. Get your free trial of our virtual assistant service today. Just visit www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Quote WOS18, or send us an email at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com.